Welcome back, I'm Felix, and I'm watching another video from Untamed. This one is 5 most disturbing deaths at water parks. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and like always, I'll leave a link for the video. One of the downsides to these types of videos, 90% of the time, is something that was preventable. The other 10% is the individual did something themselves that caused them to lose their own life. I kind of wonder if this will be a mix of both. But it's probably just going to be the ones where it's the park's fault. And just not just water park, but amusement places in general, they take shortcuts and people lose their lives. If they just done what they were supposed to, there'd be almost 0 deaths. I'm not saying no deaths, but there'd be a lot less death going on at these places. Alright, let's get going.
We're telling 5 true stories that changed the way we look at water parks forever. Despite their intended role as hubs for fun and relaxation, water parks are vulnerable to disaster.
That little girl, the one, let me see. Oh, we skipped over. It keeps skipping over. But there's let me see if I can let me go back.
Despite their intended role as hubs for fun and relaxation.
I think I've seen hers. And hers was definitely something that could have been prevented if it's the one I think it is. But these are all kids, and already I'm pissed off.
Water parks are vulnerable to disasters. Join us as we explore the devastating
They're just kids. I'm a father. Actually, I just remembered, did I even say my name? I was so pissed off. Hi, I'm Felix, in case I didn't say my name. Oh, wrong hand. But they're just kids. And as a father, I don't know if there would be a force on this planet to keep me from destroying that park. I mean, I take them to court, sue them for everything, and I just keep going. I sue the individual people running it. I sue the people that were supposed to maintain it. I would sue the founders. I go after everyone. And then if I lost against any of them, I'd be like, I'll handle you a different way. Like, no one would be getting away with anything.
Consequences of neglect and the cost of inaction. It was March 27th, 2021, and Leonardo Luna Guerrero was on a family vacation in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. The 13-year-old
I hate to say this right off the bat, Mexico, there's probably like tons of deaths. I hate to say that. Mexico is not really known for a place to enforce things like that.
Boy, his parents and siblings had recently recovered from illness, and they chose Senses, a popular water park, to celebrate their return to health. But what should have been a joyful celebration turned into a heartbreaking loss for the Luna family when Leonardo fell victim to a horrific accident. Described by his family as a brave and resilient boy, he had recently recovered from COVID-19, an illness that had taken its toll on the family. As such, the family had come to Senses for a much-needed holiday during Holy Week, not only to relax but to mark a symbolic victory over the virus. Accompanied by his father, Miguel Angel Luna Calvo, his mother and 3 siblings, Leonardo was eager to enjoy the day. The park, part of the well-known Grupo Xcaret, was a familiar and trusted destination for many vacationers. With its combination of natural beauty and recreational attractions, it seemed like the perfect place to celebrate.
Looks like a nice place.
No one could have foreseen the tragedy that was about to take place. On March 27th, Leonardo and his family were drifting along one of the park's lazy river rides, a shallow water attraction designed for gentle floating. It was the kind of ride families can enjoy together, suitable for adults as well as for kids, but it quickly turned into a nightmare. As Leonardo floated downstream, he was suddenly sucked under the shallow water. His leg had become trapped in the uncovered filtration system of the ride.
Uncovered. Someone didn't do the job when the maintenance crews didn't cover it back up. A preventable death.
System that shouldn't have been left exposed. The family, initially thinking it was a playful trick, quickly realized something was terribly wrong when Leonardo did not resurface. Miguel Angel Luna Calvo, Leonardo's father, was desperate to save his son. The man sprang into action as soon as he realized his son was in real danger. A cardiologist by profession, he rushed to free Leonardo from the filtration duct with the help of other park visitors. After a frantic struggle, Miguel managed to pull his son from the water, but by then, Leonardo had been submerged for a significant amount of time. He was unconscious. His father immediately began administering CPR, using his medical expertise to try and save his son's life. The park staff arrived, but according to Miguel, they were ill-prepared and unequipped to handle the emergency. He requested a respirator, but one was not available. As the minutes passed without proper medical intervention, Leonardo's condition worsened. An ambulance eventually arrived, transporting the boy.
That's stuff that should have been on hand. Clearly, the park was not doing what it was supposed to be doing.
Med Hospital. Despite the efforts of his father and the medical team, Leonardo's injuries proved too severe. On March 28th, the young boy succumbed to a pulmonary hemorrhage, the result of drowning. The loss devastated his family, leaving them not only heartbroken but enraged at what they believed to be gross negligence on the part of the park and the hospital. Miguel accused both the park staff and medical personnel of mishandling the situation and failing to provide adequate care when his son needed it most. Miguel, who has been vocal about the circumstances surrounding him.
I missed what the hospital did. It sounded like they, just from this clip, it sounded like they did everything.
His son's death, claimed that the park attempted to absolve itself of responsibility by pressuring him to sign a waiver before releasing Leonardo's body. Grupo Xucaret, which operates.
Oh, the hospital did something. Yeah, you wouldn't have me signing that unless you did something. That's fishy as hell. I wouldn't sign. I'd be like, no, I'm not signing that. Go get a lawyer and just sue the crap out of the hospital. Like, you know, my son's body, we're getting an autopsy. You did something.
Acknowledged that human error led to the accident, specifically citing the failure to cover the filtration system during ongoing repairs. However, Miguel argued that the park's negligence extended beyond the faulty equipment, criticizing their lack of preparedness and failure to administer first aid properly. Miguel, determined to prevent another family from enduring such a loss, has publicly condemned the park's handling of the incident. He described feeling helpless as hospital staff allegedly obstructed his efforts to transfer Leonardo to a better equipped facility. Miguel was also not allowed to pay the hospital bill, which he believes was an attempt to silence him and bury the controversy surrounding his son's death. In 2023, the legal battle between Leonardo's family and Xucaret Group was still ongoing.
Look, clearly a hospital was trying to cover something up. Now it makes me feel like the hospital could have saved that kid's life. First the park screwed up, then the hospital screwed up. It's like two things that you don't want happening, and they both happen to this kid. Again, I watched another story that pissed me off. Now this one's starting to piss me off. I need to go back to watching comedies.
On August 7th, 2016, a day meant for family fun turned into an unimaginable tragedy at Schlitterbahn Water Park in Kansas City. The Schwab family, residents of Kansas, had visited the park for Elected Official Day, when public officials and their families were granted free admission. Michelle and Scott Schwab, along with their 4 sons, were excited to spend the day enjoying the water rides, but it was their 10-year-old son Caleb who was the most eager. Little did they know that this day would end in a devastating loss. Caleb, the second of the Schwab's 4 children, had always been full of energy and curiosity. His parents, especially his father, Kansas State Representative Scott Schwab, were eager to give their children a memorable summer day. Caleb, with his older brother Nathan, set his sights on the park's most thrilling attraction, the Verrückt water slide. Towering at 168 feet, Verrückt held the title of the world.
Oh no, I think I heard about it. Oh, I'm going to let it play. I think I may have heard about this one. This one was brutal.
Slide, a feat of engineering that had captivated thrill seekers since its opening. The ride had no age restrictions, and Caleb, at just 10 years old, was allowed to ride despite his small stature. He and Nathan climbed the 264
Yeah, I think this is the one I'm thinking of. He should have never been allowed on this.
4 steps to the top of Verrückt, joining the line of eager riders. Caleb, weighing only 73 pounds, took the front seat of a 3-person raft with 2 women seated behind him. Nathan had already completed the ride and waited for his younger brother at the bottom, unaware that a tragedy was about to unfold. As Caleb's raft descended the slide, everything seemed normal until the raft went airborne over the second hill. The weight distribution, combined with the ride's high speed, caused the raft to lift.
Okay, yeah, it's not the one I was thinking of, but I've heard of this one. And again, oh my God.
Lift off the slide's surface. Caleb was forcefully thrown into the safety netting, where he struck a metal pole. The impact was fatal. He suffered catastrophic injuries on the spot. Witnesses below watched in horror as the raft, along with Caleb's lifeless body, completed its descent. Nathan, just 12 years old, saw the horrifying accident unfold in front of him.
Oh my God. One, you don't want anything to happen to your kids, and two, you don't want your kids to witness something like that. You don't want... And I guarantee you as a parent, they felt horrible, one, that their kid is dead, and two, that their other kids saw this. I don't know if I could recover from that, to be honest with you.
Screamed in terror, his voice rising above the chaos. Their mother, Michelle, rushed to reach Caleb, but bystanders held her back, fearing the devastating sight would be too much for her to bear. Meanwhile, Scott Schwab repeatedly asked in disbelief if his son was truly dead, grappling with the sudden and overwhelming loss. The aftermath of Caleb's death plunged the family into grief and disbelief. In the days that followed, an investigation into the circumstances surrounding the incident revealed shocking safety failures. Verrucht, although a marvel to onlookers, had been plagued with safety concerns long before Caleb's tragic ride.
Yeah, I have heard about this one, because I do remember that. Basically, it should have been shut down.
The slide's design and construction were carried out by individuals without any formal engineering expertise. Instead, they relied on trial and error methods, a dangerous gamble for a ride of such magnitude. Further investigation revealed that Caleb's light weight in the front of the raft contributed to the disaster, as it created an imbalance. This wasn't the first time that Raft B, the specific raft Caleb rode in, had gone airborne. In fact, it had a history of speeding abnormally fast and lifting off the slide, but no significant changes were made to correct the issue. Even more concerning was the improper use of Velcro seatbelts, which had reportedly come undone on previous rides. This lack of basic safety precautions contributed directly to Caleb's death.
They saw money and they didn't care. That's basically what it comes down to.
As the investigation unfolded, it became clear that Verrucht had been a ticking time bomb. Before it opened to the public, there had been warnings about its dangers. Test runs had shown sandbags flying off the rafts, and videos of the unsafe trials had circulated online. Despite this, the park pressed forward, promoting the slide as an extreme adventure while downplaying its very real risks.
And that's one of the tests. That was the test run. They knew. Oh yeah, I'd tear them apart. That'd be the end of it.
Came forward in the wake of Caleb's death, recounting their own injuries sustained on the ride, ranging from concussions to severe spinal damage. Caleb's tragic death prompted legal action, and in early 2017, the Schwab family settled with Schlitterbahn and other involved parties for approximately $20 million. The Verrucht slide was dismantled, and Schlitterbahn Kansas City closed permanently in September 2018.
Good. Hope they bankrupt the people behind it.
March 2018, Jeff Henry, the park's co-owner and the visionary behind Verrucht, along with two other individuals, faced criminal charges, including second-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter. However, the charges were later dropped due to questions surrounding the evidence. Caleb Schwab's death was not merely a freak accident, but a preventable tragedy caused by negligence and safety failures.
And greed. Straight up greed.
The loss of their son left the Schwab family shattered, forever marking a day that should have been filled with laughter and joy. On February 13, 2022, Davy Lucas de Miranda and his family were on a quick visit to Diroma Aqua Park in Caldas Novas, Brazil. The park was one of the 8-year-old's favorite places. He especially...
Another water slide. I don't think I'm ever taking my kids to a water park.
loved the so-called volcano, a water slide that would become the site of an unspeakable tragedy. What began as a family outing to a beloved attraction ended in a devastating loss, casting light on safety failures that could have been prevented. Davy Lucas de Miranda was an energetic and curious 8-year-old boy. By February 2013, he had visited Diroma Aqua Park several times with his family. On that day, Davy's father, Luciano, had taken him and his younger brother for a fun afternoon at the water park. Davy, who had long been excited to return, knew the park well and was particularly fond of one of its signature attractions, the volcano slide. The ride consisted of 4 water slides emerging from the top of a replica volcano, a popular feature among visitors. But unbeknownst to Davy and his family, the volcano ride had been partially dismantled for maintenance. 3 of the 4 water slides had sections removed from their tubes.
I thought I was just seeing things. Are you telling... Wait, let's go back. Let's go back.
Particularly fond of one of its signature attractions, the volcano slide.
That's the picture. Are they about to tell us they didn't shut that down? Oh, they didn't shut it down? There's nothing blocking it? My God.
The ride consisted of 4 water slides emerging from the top of a replica volcano, a popular feature among visitors. But unbeknownst to Davy and his family, the volcano ride had been partially dismantled for maintenance. 3 of the 4 water slides had sections removed from their tubes, leaving gaping holes in the ride. Although the park had originally cordoned off the area with fencing, the fencing had been removed, leaving only minimal barriers in place. This gave the illusion that the ride was operational, with little to no signage indicating otherwise, especially not to a child. That afternoon, Davy managed to escape his father's attention after using the bathroom. Without proper supervision, and because he was so familiar with the park, the little boy wandered toward the volcano ride. Although the area had been supposedly blocked off, the barriers were insufficient, consisting of only a strip of tape at the entrance. Davy, unaware of the dangerous conditions ahead, climbed the stairs to the top of the slide. The slide Davy entered appeared normal at first, with no visible signs of the missing sections from his vantage point. However, after descending the initial part of the ride, Davy encountered a gap where the tube had been removed for maintenance. The boy plunged from the slide, falling nearly 50 feet.
Holy crap. Oh my God. This is why it is so important to do your job and stuff like this. This is not a job you can half-ass. They had improper barriers. I know people are going to blame the kid. You can't 100% blame. He's 8 years old. He's excited. He's having fun. Adrenaline's pumping. There's no one to stop him. Nothing really out. There should have been tape across the opening. They should have had something blocking it. If you never walk away from stuff like that and leave it open. There should have been something blocking it. Something that says this ride is closed. There should have been signs all over the place saying this ride is closed.
The metal and wooden structure that supported the ride. He then tumbled into a shallow pool at the bottom, measuring just 28 inches deep. Davy was still alive when rescue workers reached him.
Oh, he suffered.
But he succumbed to his injuries later in the hospital. In the aftermath of Davy's death, his family was left shattered, grappling with the sudden and devastating loss of their beloved son. His mother, Jacqueline Rosa, described Davy as a marvelous child, full of plans, a super studious boy. He just wanted to play. The grief-stricken family demanded answers, convinced that the water park's negligence had contributed to their son's death. An investigation later revealed that the water park had acted recklessly in its handling of the ride's maintenance. The ride had initially been secured with proper fencing, but the park's manager, Cristiano Vilela Reis, reportedly ordered the fencing to be removed after additional barriers were installed. These new barriers, however, were insufficient to prevent access to the ride. As a result, they
should have did all the above, left the fence and put up the other barriers. You don't minimize it.
Davy was able to climb the steps and enter one of the dismantled slides. The investigation also identified flaws in the maintenance process itself. The civil engineer responsible for overseeing the repairs, Flavio Tomás de Aquino Mus, had failed to ensure the site was adequately secured during the park's operational hours. Police concluded that if the original fencing had remained in place, Davy would not have been able to access the ride, and the fatal accident would have been prevented.
That's what I mean. You do all the above. Stuff like this, you can't do minimal. You got to do all the above. The minimum is not going to work. And this kid lost his life because someone decided there was no reason to remove the fence. Why would you order the fencing removed? That's the part I wouldn't. I would talk to that person and say, what were you thinking? Why did you order it removed? She just left it. Man, I'm getting angry. It's not even my kid and I'm pissed off. Oh my God.
On June 2nd, 1997, Quimby Gilotti was a bright, ambitious young woman just days away from her high school graduation. That day, Quimby and her fellow Napa High School seniors were visiting Waterworld USA, a water park in Concord, California, when the unimaginable happened, forever changing the lives of the teenagers. At 18 years old, Quimby Gilotti was a model student, known for...
She was just getting ready to start life. Be on her own.
For her vivacious personality, her involvement in the school's mock trial club, and her dedication to academic excellence. Like many of her classmates, Quimby was probably excited to celebrate the last days of high school with her peers before embarking on the next chapter of her life. That day at Waterworld was part of the traditional senior trip, a long-awaited event filled with anticipation. She and her classmates, along with chaperones, had boarded buses early that morning, eager to make memories before graduation, which was just days away. Waterworld USA, now known as Six Flags Hurricane Harbor Concord, was a relatively new water park, having opened just 2 years prior. The park was known for its towering slides and thrilling water attractions, and Napa High students had chosen it specifically for the excitement it promised. Among its many rides, the Banzai Pipeline stood out, a tall, open-air water slide that had become iconic for its steep drops and fast twists. With the excitement of the day also came a tradition. For years, Napa High seniors had clogged the water slides on their annual trip, a practice in which groups of students would pack the slides and go down in large numbers, defying safety rules in pursuit of fun. It was a well-known ritual.
Oh, no. Oh. Is that what happened? Is this going to turn out to be her fault or the student's fault?
And this year's graduating class had grand plans. Whispers among the students.
I want it, but I can't afford it. I mean, honestly, dude, if you can't spend $20 to make sure you have clean...
Suggested that more than 70 of them wanted to take part in clogging.
No, 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 no. If my daughter goes on one of these trips, she's graduating this year, I'm going to tell her, do not participate. Walk away. You and your friends, convince your friend, do whatever you got to do. Bite them. Make them chase after you. But don't participate in stuff like this. Majority of the time, it does not end well. And that's what it sounds like is about to happen.
The Banzai Pipeline. Even though it was a risky stunt, most were eager to participate, seeking to end their senior year with a bang. As the day drew to a close, the park announced over the loudspeakers that it was time for the Napa High group to head back to their buses. Instead of leaving, dozens of students rushed to the Banzai Pipeline. Quimby, like many of her friends, was among them. Along with 32 other students, she climbed to the top of the slide, where a lifeguard was stationed to ensure safety. However, the group pushed past the lifeguard, determined to carry out their plan. The lifeguard blew her whistle and shouted, but it was too late. 33 students piled onto the slide at once. Moments later, disaster struck. The weight of the students proved too much for the slide's structure, and it began to buckle.
Oh my God, it collapsed. This wasn't the park's fault. This is what I'm saying. 10% of the time, it was their fault. Oh man. Look at that. They just tore it apart. The weight couldn't handle the weight. That's why they go down one at a time. It was designed one at a time, not all at once.
Fiberglass cracked under the pressure, and in a matter of seconds, the section of the slide that held the most students collapsed. The teenagers were thrown 40 feet to the ground below, some hitting the wooden support beams on their way down. Chaos ensued. Parkgoers watched in horror as bodies fell from the sky, some landing on concrete, others in shallow water, bushes, or against each other. Some were more fortunate than others. Many suffered broken bones and internal injuries, but one student would not survive. Quimby Gilotti, the bright and promising 18-year-old, suffered catastrophic injuries to her head and chest after striking a support beam.
She thought she was just having some fun. This is what I'm talking about. Like I said, 90% of the time it's the park's fault, and then there's that 10%, it's their fault. I understand they're just kids and they were just having fun, but this is one time you cannot blame the park. I'm sorry, you can't. I mean, I still wouldn't be surprised if the park got sued and they settled something. But in this case, because on the one hand, as the park, you kind of don't want to take the blame. But on the other hand, press-wise, you probably think, let's just settle this. We'll give them a little something, make it go away.
To save her, she died from her injuries 45 minutes after the accident. The other injured students were rushed to nearby hospitals and many would recover. But Quimby's death left a mark on her classmates and community. Napa High School's graduation ceremony, held just 10 days after the accident, was a somber affair. Some students attended in wheelchairs, while first responders and medical staff were invited to honor the lives affected by the tragedy. But Quimby Gilotti wasn't there to graduate. Lawsuits followed, including a wrongful death suit filed by Quimby's father, Larry Gilotti, who sought justice for the loss of his daughter. In the end, Quimby's family settled for $1.7 million.
That's what I was talking about. So, the parents of the Napa High School student who died in the slides of collapse at the Waterworld USA in Concord have agreed. So, is that saying the park paid out? Because that's what I was talking about. The park probably just paid out.
The largest of all the settlements related to the accident. Napa High School also established the Quimby Gilotti Memorial Scholarship Assembly to provide financial aid guidance to future students.
I don't know if I would have paid out that much. Because there's proof it was their fault, unfortunately. But again, the water park probably was just like, let's just pay it out and make it go away.
On a summer day in August 2022, 11-year-old Kyra Hill, a bright athletic girl from Croydon, South London, was attending a friend's birthday party with 10 other children at Liquid Leisure, a water park near Windsor, Berkshire. That day, Kyra was eager to enjoy the inflatable obstacle course.
Okay, this is not the one I was thinking of. There was another little girl that looks like her. It was at one of those indoor water parks. It was it was a water slide and then it fell apart as she was going down through it.
Her friends, but something terrible happened instead. But amid the laughter and excitement, something went terribly wrong. At some point during the afternoon, Kyra went under the water in a designated swimming area. Despite the lifeguards and other swimmers being present, no one seemed to notice immediately that she was in danger. Panic ensued when it became clear that Kyra was missing, and an urgent search began. Witnesses described the scene as chaotic. Lifeguards were reportedly scrambling, some even asking for goggles from park visitors to aid in their search. The park seemed unprepared for...
And now this one, the park being ill-prepared. Greed is why they were ill-prepared. They should have had goggles, or they should have been able to go underwater. They should have had stuff on ready to go, and they didn't.
With lifeguards,
they took shortcuts to save money.
Areas and lacking coordination. Approximately 40 people, including staff and guests, dove into the water to try to find Kyra, but the search efforts were described as slow and disorganized. The situation became increasingly desperate as the minutes passed without finding her. Emergency services were finally called at 3:55 p.m., but Kyra wasn't located until just after 5:10 p.m., over an hour after she had gone missing. She was pulled from the water and rushed to Wexham Park Hospital, but it was too late. Kyra was pronounced dead. Her official cause of death was determined to be drowning. In the aftermath, Kyra's father, Leonard Hill, voiced his heartbreak and anger over the way the situation had been handled. He believed that more could have been done to save his daughter, and that the lack of urgency among park staff had directly contributed to her death. This was
Yeah, the park was not ready. I guarantee you no one was properly trained. This is stuff they should have been training these people to do. Like, it's a water park. Everyone should know how to swim. Everyone, you need to coordinate. There should be goggles available for everyone, respirators available for everyone. The fact they didn't have any of that ready to go is horrible.
A lack of awareness, not paying attention, almost a carefree attitude shown towards her. I would say she was left to drown. According to Leonard Hill, Kyra wasn't even on the inflatables at the time of the incident. She had been swimming in a designated shallow water area that did not require a life jacket. He was convinced that if staff had acted with more urgency, Kyra could have been saved. She had a chance, he said, but lack of urgency, lack of interest, lack of action is the reason why my daughter is no longer here today. Liquid Leisure was fined £80,000 for failing to ensure the safety of a member of the public, with additional costs of £30,000 and a victim surcharge of £2,000. The company expressed its sorrow over the incident, stating they were heartbroken and working closely with authorities in the ongoing investigation. However, Leonard Hill was not satisfied, believing that his daughter's death could have been prevented if the park had been better prepared and its staff more attentive.
It's a fact. I mean, eyewitness said they were chaotic. They were all over the place. No one was searching where they should have been searching. They should have had a grid search. They should have been searching the designated area. They should have been searching. There should have been teams who had designated areas to search, and they go search those areas to cover the whole park. That didn't happen. That's what it sounds like. That did not even come close to happen. And asking to borrow goggles from the guest. You should have had your own pair of goggles. That should have been provided by the business. You should have had respirators so you could go into water longer. So much was done wrong. And I guarantee it was all done to save money.
Kira was less than 2 weeks away from celebrating her 12th birthday when the tragic accident occurred.
All these were just horrible and preventable. The one I definitely disagree with is the water park where the students crammed inside of it. Honestly, I don't think they should have got that much money. I'm sorry to say that, because they blew past the lifeguard. The lifeguard tried to stop them and it was too late. That was 100% their fault. But like I said, the park paid out mainly to make it go away. The park was probably like, yeah, we could afford this, just give it to them. They probably had it broken down, like we can give the one that died this much and the rest will get this much. So they were ready to go. I wouldn't be surprised if they had money set aside for stuff like that. Just, here, take the money, go away. And I honestly think that's why they paid out. Do I think they paid out too much? Yeah, but can you put a price on a life? Actually, it's America. Yeah, you can, unfortunately. But in that instant, I think I would have only paid, like I said, I would have only paid out just to make it go away, but I don't know if I would have done 1.7 million. But if it's a park that has that kind of money, maybe it's a drop in the pan. Again, I'll put a link in there for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And kids, I mean, you hate to see this happen to them. All right, everyone take care. Later.